You're in an industry that's so dominated.
Yeah. What was his such a charismatic, charming, incredible storyteller?
Let's dive straight into the heart of this swirling storm of scandal, where secrets are no longer safe and the glittering facade of hip-hop royalty is starting to crack. This week, we've been hit with bombshell revelations from none other than Foxy Brown, the once unstoppable teenage rap sensation. After decades of whispers, rumors, and carefully guarded truths, she's finally decided to come clean in court, exposing a dark underbelly of the music industry that many suspected but few dared to confirm. And at the center of it all, two of the biggest names in hip-hop, Diddy, Combs, and Jay-Z.
A compelling witness for the prosecution, said that she actually walked in on R. Kelly performing a sex act with Aaliyah when she was either 13 or 14 years old. We then heard from one of his employees that at the age of 15, he bribed an official in Illinois to get a fake ID so that Aaliyah could marry R. Kelly at the time, who was 27.
Imagine the scene, a hushed courtroom in New York, Diddy sitting stone-faced, flanked by his high-priced legal team, as Foxy begins to recount her experiences from the late 90s, a time when she was barely old enough to drive, yet already a star rubbing shoulders with the most powerful figures in rap. This wasn't just any testimony. It was a seismic shift, a moment where the veil was lifted on the so-called golden era of hip-hop, revealing a world of manipulation, exploitation, and unchecked power dynamics. Foxy's words reportedly sent shockwaves through the room, painting a vivid picture of the secretive, debauched parties hosted by Diddy and Jay-Z. Events she described as anything but glamorous. Foxy's revelations take us back to when she was just 15 years old, a Brooklyn teenager with a razor-sharp flow and a voice that could command any room. Her breakout collaboration with Jay-Z was a smash hit, but looking back, the lyrics now feel uncomfortably prophetic. Recorded when Foxy was still underage, the song's flirtatious back and forth between the two artists was marketed as playful banter, but was it something more? Rumors have swirled for years that Jay-Z and Foxy were romantically involved during this time, and her testimony seems to lend weight to these whispers. Was their professional relationship a cover for something far more inappropriate?
This morning, rap mogul Jay-Z is denying allegations he assaulted a 13-year-old girl alongside rapper Diddy Combs. That civil lawsuit filed against Combs in October was amended Sunday to include Jay-Z. The accuser, identified only as Jane Doe, says she was assaulted by both men.
The timeline doesn't lie. By the time Foxy was 16, she was recording with Jay-Z, appearing on his albums, and performing alongside him on stages across the globe. The chemistry between them was undeniable, but what many saw as a mentor-protege relationship now raises deeply uncomfortable questions. If the rumors are true, this wasn't just a case of blurred boundaries. It was a gross abuse of power. And it wasn't just Jay-Z. According to Foxy, Diddy was also a central figure in this toxic dynamic, throwing lavish parties that she says were more about control and exploitation than celebration. These weren't your typical industry parties, she claims. Dubbed freak-offs by Diddy himself, these events allegedly featured a mix of celebrities, aspiring artists, and young women, many of whom, like Foxy, were underage. The atmosphere, as she described it, was intoxicating, designer clothes and a haze of banned substances that dulled inhibitions and made it easier for boundaries to be crossed. Foxy's testimony painted a chilling picture of a teenager thrust into this world, surrounded by older men who wielded immense power and influence. She described feeling like a pawn, manipulated and coerced, her voice drowned out by the roaring success of her male counterparts.
I want to start with alleged victim number 4. Who goes by the name Mia. It's an alias. She is one of the people who is testifying where the judge has granted her anonymity. She is on the stand, but everybody in the courtroom has been warned. Do not reveal her identity. Do not even give a physical description of her.
And then there's the most disturbing detail of all, the alleged recordings. According to new rumors circulating in the wake of Foxy's statements, Diddy didn't just orchestrate these parties, he documented them. Hidden cameras allegedly captured everything, creating a vault of incriminating footage that could be used for leverage against anyone who dared to go public. Imagine the implications. Some of the biggest names in music and entertainment possibly caught on tape in compromising situations, their careers and reputations hanging by a thread. Foxy hinted that these tapes might contain evidence not just of the parties themselves, but of the exploitation and mistreatment she and others endured. But it doesn't stop there. Speculation is growing that Diddy used these tapes as a means of control, ensuring that no one could speak out without risking their own downfall. It's a tactic that aligns with the broader allegations against him. Claims that he used fear, threats, and even violence to silence his victims and protect his empire. Prosecutors have already accused him of intimidating witnesses, and Foxy's testimony suggests that this culture of coercion extended far beyond the courtroom.
So she testified, excuse me, that she was Diddy's ex-assistant. She said he her, sexually assaulted her in various ways multiple times. He exacted unbelievable violence against her, threatened her, one point allegedly threatened to take her phone and use anything on the phone.
And what about Jay-Z? While he hasn't been charged with any crimes, his name continues to surface in connection with these allegations. Foxy's testimony has reignited questions about the relationship, particularly during the recording of her debut album, Il Na Na. The lyrics, the chemistry, and the timing all point to a deeper connection between the two, one that, if true, would be incredibly damaging to Jay-Z's carefully crafted image as a family man and business mogul. Could Foxy's testimony be the thread that unravels his spotless reputation? The courtroom drama surrounding Diddy has also brought renewed attention to his long history of alleged misconduct. From the explosive lawsuit filed by Cassie last year to the recent revelations about hidden cameras and secret recordings, it seems like the walls are finally closing in on the hip-hop mogul. Prosecutors have described him as a man who used his wealth and power to create a criminal enterprise, exploiting women and silencing anyone who got in his way. And now, with Foxy Brown stepping forward, it feels like the floodgates are about to open.
So we just got this new audio from the Diddy trial, and it is pretty explosive. This is audio of a voicemail that Diddy left to the Jane Doe who's been testifying in this trial for the last couple days. And he sounds really annoyed. He's talking about her maybe giving him the silent treatment, and his response is, I got a busy life, I can't be dealing with your silent treatment, and we got to keep it.
The entertainment world is watching closely, not just because of the high-profile names involved, but because of what this case represents. For years, the music industry has operated with a sense of impunity, its biggest stars shielded from accountability by their fame and fortune. But as more and more survivors find the courage to speak out, that culture of silence is starting to crumble. Foxy's testimony could be the catalyst for a much larger reckoning, one that extends far beyond Diddy and Jay-Z. And let's not forget the ripple effects this could have on the industry as a whole. Already, there are whispers that several high-ranking executives at major record labels are scrambling to cover their tracks, fearing that they too could be implicated. If Foxy's claims about the tapes are true, who knows how many careers could be destroyed by what's on them. The stakes couldn't be higher, and the tension is palpable.
I'm Eva Pilgrim. Thanks for streaming with us. Incredibly graphic testimony today in the Sean Diddy Combs trial. And we have to warn you, some of what you hear may...
As the trial unfolds, one thing is clear. This is more than just a legal battle. It's a fight for the soul of an entire industry. Foxy Brown, once silenced by fear, is now at the center of a storm that could expose decades of abuse and corruption. But what else does she know? And who else might be dragged into the spotlight as a result of her testimony? This story is far from over. And if Foxy Brown's revelations weren't already enough to shake the foundations of the music industry, they also cast a harsh spotlight on an even broader, more sinister pattern, one that eerily reminds us of R. Kelly's infamous downfall. The parallels are impossible to ignore. Both Diddy and Kelly, towering figures in their respective eras, allegedly used their wealth, charm, and massive influence to create environments where their dark desires could flourish unchecked. If what Foxy suggests is true, these weren't isolated incidents, but carefully constructed systems of control designed to exploit and silence their victims while maintaining their public personas as untouchable icons.
To the victims in this case, your voices were heard, and justice was finally served. This conviction would not have been possible without the bravery and resilience of R. Kelly's victims. I applaud their courage in revealing in open court the painful, intimate, and horrific.
We all remember how the R. Kelly saga unfolded, decades of whispers about his predatory behavior finally erupting into a tidal wave of accusations. Survivors came forward describing how they were groomed, coerced, and trapped in what some called a cult-like environment. Kelly's team allegedly helped facilitate his crimes, from scouting vulnerable young women to ensuring their silence. Now, as Foxy's testimony begins to unravel the secrets behind Diddy's so-called freak-offs, the similarities are chilling. Both men are accused of surrounding themselves with enablers, entourages who helped maintain the illusion of glamour while hiding the ugly reality beneath. The similarities between Foxy's story and the allegations against R. Kelly are deeply unsettling, painting a picture of a music industry that has long enabled predators to thrive in plain sight. R. Kelly, now serving decades behind bars, famously surrounded himself with a loyal team of assistants, managers, and insiders who allegedly helped him scout young victims, keep them isolated, and ensure their silence. According to testimony during his trial, these enablers played a critical role in creating an atmosphere where Kelly's control was absolute. Foxy's claims echo this dynamic, suggesting that Diddy may have also relied on a network of individuals to maintain his alleged freak-offs and suppress the truth. It raises a disturbing question. Just how many people knew what was happening, but chose to look the other way?
For years, Mr. Kelly believed that his power and fame could defy the justice system and allow him to continue his abuse. Today, a jury of Mr. Kelly's peers confirmed what these courageous victims have known for far too long. Mr. Kelly is a prolific.
This isn't just a story about individual bad actors. It's a systemic issue that has plagued the music industry for decades. Both R. Kelly and Diddy allegedly exploited their positions of power, leveraging their fame and wealth to manipulate those around them. From the artists who depended on them for career opportunities to the staff members whose livelihoods were tied to their success, these predators allegedly built empires of fear, where speaking out was not an option. For victims like Foxy, the stakes were impossibly high. In an industry where reputation is everything, breaking their silence could mean losing everything they had worked so hard to achieve. But here's where things get even more chilling. Both Kelly and Diddy are accused of using psychological manipulation to maintain control over their victims. In Kelly's case, survivors described how he used promises of stardom to lure young women into his orbit, only to isolate and emotionally break them over time. Foxy's story suggests a similar pattern. Her rise to fame as a teenager came with a heavy price, as she was allegedly drawn into a world where the lines between professional mentorship and personal exploitation were purposefully blurred. It's a recurring theme in these cases: young, vulnerable artists being preyed upon by older, more powerful figures under the guise of opportunity.
These victims overcame Mr. Kelly's abuse. They deserve to be recognized. Know this: we stand here today because of them. Without them, today would not have been accomplished. Today is their day.
The broader implications of Foxy's testimony cannot be overstated. Her decision to speak out could inspire other victims to come forward, potentially sparking a ripple effect across the industry. We've seen this happen before. When one brave survivor breaks their silence, others often follow. If Foxy's revelations lead to additional testimonies against Diddy, Jay-Z, or others, it could mark the beginning of a long overdue reckoning for the music world. After all, the R. Kelly scandal only reached its tipping point when survivors banded together to share their stories. Could Foxy's courage ignite a similar movement within hip-hop? What's clear is that the stakes couldn't be higher. If more victims come forward, we could see an unprecedented collapse of the power structures that have shielded these predators for so long. And if Foxy's claims about hidden tapes are true, the fallout could extend far beyond the music industry, reaching into other areas of entertainment, business, and even politics. The question is, will her bravery inspire others to step into the light, or will the industry's culture of silence continue to protect the powerful? One thing is certain: this story is far from over, and the world is watching closely.
Continue to engage in all these freak-offs with him, and he sounds really pissed off.
Hey, I really don't know what's going on with you, but I just want to give you a heads up that I'm about to really disappear on you. You feel me? I'm not going to be playing these games with you at all, at all. So I don't know, you think you silent treating me, and you think I'm going to be, nah. You'll have a rude awakening.
What's even more disturbing is the alleged role of Diddy's inner circle. Rumors suggest that his employees weren't just bystanders, they were active participants, ensuring the machinery ran smoothly. These were the people who allegedly coordinated travel for guests, stocked party locations with banned substances, and even tracked down individuals who tried to escape. Could Foxy, a teen artist at the time, have been ensnared in this toxic web? It's not hard to imagine. She was young, impressionable, and surrounded by people who had everything to gain from keeping her silent. Non-disclosure agreements, veiled threats, and the ever-present lure of fame, these are the tools of manipulation that Foxy may have faced, just as so many others allegedly did under similar circumstances. And let's not forget the psychological toll such an environment can take. Over the years, we've seen Foxy struggle publicly, her erratic behavior and emotional outbursts often making headlines. But now, in light of these allegations, those moments take on a new, heartbreaking dimension. Could her struggles with mental health and her battles in the spotlight be the result of years of exploitation and silencing? It's a tragic but all too common story in the entertainment industry. Young stars thrust into a world that chews them up and spits them out, leaving them to navigate the fallout alone. Foxy's bravery in coming forward now suggests a deep reservoir of strength, but it also underscores the staggering failure of an industry that should have protected her.
Same kind of extortion that we heard when Cassie took the stand and testified on that airplane ride back from France. Diddy said, "You don't do a freak off, I'm going to release one of the freak off videos that you are profiled in and humiliate you."
We have to ask ourselves, how many more Foxy Browns are out there? How many young artists have endured similar experiences but remain silent, either out of fear or because they've been conditioned to believe that speaking out will ruin them? The music industry has long been a breeding ground for unchecked power dynamics, where the line between mentorship and exploitation is often blurred. And as Foxy's testimony begins to pull back the curtain, it feels like we're only scratching the surface of something much, much bigger. Which brings us back to those hidden tapes. The rumors about Diddy's alleged recordings are nothing short of explosive. If these tapes exist, and that's a monumental if, they could be the key to unraveling not just his empire, but the entire ecosystem that enabled him. Think about it. A vault of footage allegedly documenting years of exploitation, featuring not just Diddy, but potentially other celebrities, executives, and even high-profile figures outside the music world. What happens if those tapes were leaked, or worse, used as evidence in court? The fallout could be catastrophic, implicating an entire network of powerful individuals who thought they were untouchable.
Right. Arguably, the defense's biggest asset in this case was the complexity and arguably the awkwardness of applying federal racketeering charges to a person who now is convicted of using his business in order to satisfy his sexual urges. It's not the traditional application of racketeering law. Normally that's been applied to mafia type.
And then there's the question of justice. If the allegations are true, should those who attended these parties and turned a blind eye also be held accountable? What about the executives who allegedly knew what was happening but stayed silent to protect their investments? The ripple effect of this scandal could reach far beyond Diddy and Jay-Z, exposing a culture of complicity that stretches to the highest levels of the industry. It's a house of cards that, once toppled, could change everything we thought we knew about the entertainment world. But here's the most haunting thought of all. If this is what Foxy has chosen to reveal, what else is still hidden in the shadows? How many more stories are waiting to be told, and how many more powerful figures are desperately trying to keep their secrets buried? This could be the beginning of a reckoning like we've never seen before, one that forces the industry to confront its darkest truths and finally start protecting the vulnerable instead of the powerful. What do you think? Could Foxy's testimony be the catalyst that brings an entire empire to its knees? Or is this just the tip of an iceberg too massive to fully uncover? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget, the truth always has a way of coming out. Until next time, stay curious, stay bold, and remember, the glitz and glamour often hide the deepest secrets. See you soon.